Hello everybody, welcome back to the KCM. It's time for week 1 of the brand new season here. Season 2 is just about to kick off. Got Royal versus Stark to start us in. Here he is, Royal, over in the top right hand corner. We got Stork down there in the bottom right. It's been a minute. I didn't know we were going to have such a long break here, Shun, but we are back now.
Right.
We've been a little busy with ASL. Round of 16 is always the toughest part for us as casters, right? That potential 11 games does go pretty long, but we made it through. We're moving on to the round of 8. We won't spoil anything for you guys, so don't worry about that. But we've managed to find some time now to finally start off this next season.
Yeah, it's been a real blast to be casting that ASL. We're done with the round of 16, but we won't talk about the results at all, so don't sweat it. Looking like a pretty balanced lineup to kick off week 1 of season 2 here in 2026. We got Royal Light JYJ for Terran, Bisu Mini Stalk for Protoss, and Soma Action Jadong for Zerg. Definitely two pretty heavy hitting players for all 3 squads, and one player that's maybe a little bit less consistent than those other 2.
Oh, who are you talking about? You talking about Stork?
Yeah, Stork in action for sure. Maybe JYJ in some regards as well.
Thought we weren't. He who shall not be named. Just putting it out there without saying who it is. Now it's alright. Stork has been playing actually pretty decent. Outside of offline tournaments, of course. It's just a little bit different here in the online mode. He seems to be a little bit more locked in. We'll see what he can do against Royal, because Royal is kind of a beast. Scary player, man.
Yeah.
And he's like, I think he's got a pretty decent style. I keep thinking this about Royal, that he should have a decent style against someone like Stork, but you know what? It seems like these lower ranked Protoss players, lower tier Protoss players, seem to have kind of a weird advantage against him, which you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, it's like players like Stork and Shuttle seem to do strangely good against Royal, right? I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
It is a bizarre factor. I don't know if that's because maybe he has a hard time mind gaming them, or their straightforward style does well against his particular cheesy variation of Terran. I don't know exactly what it is, to be totally frank with you. So yeah, I don't know. But it looks like Royal actually, I'm not sure if this is I think he's going to set up a proxy starport here at the, or is that a second factory? Oh, it's a factory. So he's doing a 2-fact build against Stork. Looks like he doesn't want to play a normal macro game. Maybe thinking hasn't worked out so well for him in the past, trying to play a more straightforward game against the likes of people like Shadow and Stork. And he's actually getting super cheesy. It's a 2-factory build, but this forward factory at the 3 o'clock is very aggressive.
I think it's a reasonable idea. I don't think that Stork's going to expect it. We should see, you know, just Stork kind of playing a normal game. He does get 1 Marine. But this is a pretty standard trade here. We'll end up losing a little bit of hull HP on that Dragoon before backing off. Might put on a little bit more pressure. Wait, Royal not starting the bunker here, floating into the main. Oh gosh. I thought he would just build vultures and go behind these Dragoons, but he is really gonna try to get cheeky here in that main base.
Well, Protoss buildings actually have more sight range than the Zerg and Terran buildings do, so I wonder if Stork can actually see this. I think it's just barely out of vision. I think he can plant it down there in the corner without him being able to see it. I think the vulture pops out and Stork immediately sees the vulture, though. I think that's what will happen. Yeah, this is very interesting. And it was funny how he did technically see the puff of smoke, but obviously there's no way he's looking at the corner of his base at that particular moment. Really weird stuff here from Royal, getting very cheesy in this game. And there's that vulture now, but he's circling down to lay mines towards that ramp location as a Dragoon pops out and does find a connection on it. Already a really good start for Royal. Even glitches out the Dragoon a little bit with a slide, but good target fire from Stork, clearing up that mine. The low HP Dragoon that was retreating to the natural gets taken up by the tank. This is a crazy opening.
Oh my gosh, it's pretty funny to see Stork build the pylon there long after the vulture has already run by. But there's going to be mines on top of these gateways. The tank is here. Got to be careful. Don't lose that tank. Another mine connection. Vulture here in the mineral line doing so much work. I think this is a great way to deal with Stork. Just put him under a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
He does struggle with the multitasking in a lot of these situations, and Royal's just putting him through his paces here, dropping him down to 25 supply now.
Yeah, it seems this was well mapped out from Royal. I don't think he actually saw the vulture as it popped out even, so he didn't have a bit of a heads up to that coming down either. Really unfortunate that Stork had no way of knowing this unless he checked. And he's now taking so much damage. He's down to 23 supply. Now laying down mines in the mineral line. Ooh, okay, does take that down with some help of the probes. He's really trying to get that mineral line detonation off and just kill like 10 probes. Oh, it does manage to clear up the mine. Still has killed so many probes, though, with those vultures on the ground. Finally, an observer is out for Stork to maybe stabilize the position. He has got 2 nexuses, so can produce 2 workers at a time, but he's still going to be behind in this game, I feel. He's lost so many of these probes.
Oh my god, so close to getting a huge connection in that mineral line, but the probe damage has really already been done, and there's just continual vultures being sent into the base. Stork is struggling to stabilize here, and even if he does, I think the position is almost unlosable for Royal at this point. He will have his CC finished up here shortly, and Stork still struggling to clear this mine, still taking damage from these despite having the observer.
Yeah, this is wild. I mean, Stork, like I said, able to produce 2 workers at a time right now, but the CC's on the way for Royal, so that small advantage won't last for much longer. This is going to be such a tough game for Stork to turn around back into his favor. Seems like he has relatively quickly got control over his natural again and started mining there, but it doesn't look that good. I really do feel like Royal's in a fantastic spot right now. He just needs to make sure there's not like a critical mass of Dragoons that suddenly goes for a counterattack or something and overwhelms the natural before he can get the second factory back home and producing units yet again. Siege mode's just recently finished up, so he's got 2 tanks in position to deal with any counterattacks. Once this second factory does land and start producing vultures again, I don't see Stork having a chance at getting any compensation here. He might have to just translate this into a more orthodox game and try and get a 3rd base online.
Yeah, he's still alive, technically. He could make a comeback. The thing about Royal is, you were just talking earlier about like why he struggles so hard against Protoss players that are kind of a tier below in a lot of our minds. Players like Stork, players like Shuttle. One of the reasons, I think, is actually that he underestimates the Protoss player when pushing, and so usually when he's pushing out, like we'll see him beat Snow and then Best back to back and then lose to, you know, shuttle or whatever. It's just insane that he can find a way to lose after playing so incredibly well against some of the best Protoss players in the world. But every time I've seen it happen, it's because of a push that was just a little bit too eager and too much stacking in the units. Something he would never do against a player like Snow because he knows he'll get punished. But then he goes ahead and does it against, you know, a Stork or a shuttle and gets punished. And he looks like a bit of a fool. But we'll see if he makes the same mistake here. Stork is coming in now. He's going to need insane damage to make this game work for him. Dodging some of the tank shots, but he does take a bit of damage on that Reaver. Can't stick around for much longer. There's a Goliath here to start to try and push that away. And not much more than one tank going down here for Royal.
Yeah, it's not the worst trade in the world, you know, getting rid of a Zealot for a tank. It's something, but it's not the kind of damage he needs to tip the scales back to being even or even in his favor. And yeah, I know what you're saying about maybe Royal underestimating some of the slightly lower tier players. I think in a way that's like one of the superpowers you have as a lower tier player in StarCraft, is that a lot of these other guys don't respect you as much and are more likely to make mistakes in calculating what will and won't work against you. And Royal picking up a few probe kills in transit to that 6 o'clock, but he does bleed vultures for it. So he hasn't got a crazy unit count right now. He's mainly just got a ton of SCVs relative to the amount of probes that Stork has, and looks like he is powering up into 6 factories, so doesn't want to take a very quick third here. Looks like he wants to keep pushing it down on Stork.
Yeah, 5 factory should be very difficult to stop as it comes online. 6th factory being made by Royal, so he's very serious about this upcoming attack. Could all come down to this, guys. Like, if this works, Royal should win, but if Stork somehow manages to hang on, he could end up being in a very good position and maybe even win this game. After all the damage that's been done in the early game by Royal, it would be insane to see a Stork comeback like that and find a way to a victory.
Yeah. This is a build that Royal loves to do against Protoss players. He loves the 2 base, 6 factory timing. But there are a lot of situations where a 5 factory third base is superior. Who knows? This could be the thing that helps Stork come back in this game if this attack can be shut down. He is getting a lot of damage onto that shuttle, though, with a pair of Goliaths. Stork desperately needs to sandbag Royal every turn, utilizing the Reaver and shuttle, but already sustaining a lot of damage onto that. And looks like Royal's going to hedge his bets. He's still going to push against Stork, but he's also making a CC in the main base as an insurance policy. Reasonable Scarab connections taking out some of the vultures, but shuttle is so low. But he does get the Goliaths taken care of, so he can be a little bit more ambitious with the utilization of that low HP shuttle. He's also pressuring the back door. Is Stork trying to overwhelm the rally point here from Royal, who's laying down mines desperately to keep them at bay. Does get those precious mine connections. Kills a total of 5 Dragoons. Really well done there from Royal, holding the back line while he advances.
That tank just would not die. One tank holds the line against all those Dragoons. Of course, the assistance of the vultures making a big difference there. Low HP. Shuttle that you were talking about earlier, still alive, still shuttling these Reavers around, and with no real anti-air, Royal is in a dangerous spot, right? If he keeps pushing like this, he might get overwhelmed by a bunch of shuttle bombs on top of all these units. And look, these 3 Dragoons are very low, but they've been getting quite a few kills on these reinforcing units. There's not going to be many vultures in this upcoming fight. 1 turret. I see another round of vultures popping out here. 3rd coming forward now, slowly stretching over towards that natural, but Stork is going to counter.
Yeah, I think Royal's counting on Stork not having enough money to produce tons of Zealots and shuttles right now with the early game damage, but this attack from Stork might be tough to deal with, and he's distracted by it. He's having to lift his CC. The attack is slowing down because he's having to stretch his attention to defending back at home as well. You can see just how slow the advance is going in Stork's own natural. Lots of mines being laid down around the bottom of these factory lines to try and keep Stork at bay. This attack does look really scary, though. So many tanks are with this army. Maybe he can just walk over Stork back at home, despite losing mining on this natural expansion. I think one of the main problems for Stork is just he didn't have much money to utilize and was primarily producing Reavers out of that robo rather than additional shuttles to bomb on top of these tanks. It looks like he's going to try and go for a bomb soon with this Reaver here with a couple of Zealots. If he can keep scooping up like 2 Zealots at a time and dropping them out onto those tanks, maybe there's a way he can slow this push down, but this does look like a devastating attack from Royal. I think he will eventually get this Nexus.
There's a lot of chaos going on back at home as well. So many SCVs have been killed and so many reinforcements have been slowed down. However, Royal sieging up here right inside the natural, killing off a lot of Dragoons. Nothing to kill this Reaver, though. Reaver getting a massive scarab in the middle of all this. Does he have a Zealot to drop? No, he does not. So can't continue to fight this army. Bottom center is still mining. Does not have a pylon wall there, though, to do really anything against vultures. Dropping Reavers in on top of everything again. Huge connection there. Killing off a lot of these tanks. Finally, the shuttle goes down. One more shot. Oh my god, that Scarab actually gets massive damage. 1 tank left. Kind of an insane first game, but Stork is running out of supply, and he doesn't really have anything to defend bottom center.
Yeah, I think Royal did just barely a good enough job defending back at home. It didn't take him long to get 3 bases mining yet again, and now Stork just running so dry on resources. Is a real struggle for him to push this back as more tanks arrive to the front line. There's even a turret now set up here in this entrenched position, making it even harder to get value out of bombing onto these tanks with shuttles. This does look like a death by 1,000 cuts that Stork is gonna have to bear at the moment. I don't think there's a way he can turn this into a win right now. He's done a valiant effort of keeping Royal back with some of these trades, but we'll have to GG out, and Royal gets a quick win on the board for Terran.
So Royal breaks the curse. He manages to get through Stork, and is going to have his next match versus Jaedong. Oh, this is a fantastic matchup, actually. Jaedong is kind of on another level right now. He is insanely good, but we should see a fireworks-filled match between these two players. Royal is a unique Terran contender. He's a guy that will put you through a lot of pressure and has a ton of cheeses like we saw in that last game.
Yeah, and Jaedong is playing like an absolute madman lately. Gonna be a worthy contender for Royal. Royal getting serious already. A forward 8 racks towards the ramp leading into his natural expansion. And look at this from Jaedong. It's a 9 scout. One of the most perfect things to use when you're suspicious of something like a BBS or an 8 racks. It's not an auto win, but he can put pressure onto Royal now, force an SCV off the line to keep this barracks churning. And look at how aggressive Royal is being. He is going 8-8. He's going 8-8, basically, like 8 racks into a very fast factory. This is about as super all in as you get. But because he built the barracks so far back, Jaedong's not going to get much of a slowdown on this. And the bounce of the SCV is good, so he doesn't actually slow down the barracks being made. This was quite clever from Royal, building this 8 rack so close to home to make it very difficult for Jaedong to delay. And he will be building a proxy factory towards the mineral-only location of Jaedong as well. This is a very spicy game from Royal.
Oh my gosh. He just mines 100 gas and then goes for this factory. Are we going to see Jaedong send out a drone to actually try and find this? If he finds it, the game might just end. There is going to be a Marine on the way across the map. Jaedong's looking for it. Is he going to find it? Oh my. You can see it from the high ground? No, he doesn't see it. Another drone. Another drone is
way.
scouting. No way.
How can you miss this, Jaedong? How can you miss this?
Oh, that's insane.
He knows there's a proxy factory. He just doesn't know where. He looks like he's going back to check that spot now, but it is a little bit late. I think the factory finishes up. Oh, he's not even checking it. He's sending the other drone back. Oh my gosh. I think this actually will finish, and Jaedong hasn't been able to spot it. He will have some Zerglings. We'll have a hatchery finishing up, but because of how slow that hatchery is, he has to build a sunken in the main. Oh my god, this is such a weird game. Like, he's gonna make a creep colony as soon as the hatchery finishes, but I think the vulture gets in long before the sunken can finish in the natural. This is gonna get so weird so quickly.
This is an insane build from Royal. This I really haven't even seen something like this. SCV is going to die. Second SCV, not going to be targeted. Lings are actually going across the map for a counterattack, and the Sunken in the main is just going to be defending the drones back at home. I guess Ling speed is on the way. There's no layer at all. This is a chaotic game, but Jaedong may be able to do a lot of damage in that main base. Looks like there's some sort of wall there. Can he get in? And oh, he can actually kill the larva going after the supply depot. Supply depot just barely gonna survive. Yeah, Marine pops out and he is gonna be safe, so he can't really deal any damage. Ling's speed should be finishing up here soon. Gonna try to surround this. Oh, it's so close. Vulture almost killed.
Yeah, he's gonna try and keep this hatchery alive. He's made a couple of Lings to start the defense, and then he's gonna try and pop out a few Hydras, but with 4 vultures here and an SCV repairing them up, I don't think Jaedong is gonna be able to hold on to this hatchery. With an SCV repairing the vultures, he's gonna come back with 3 Lings from the front that were hitting that depot. Does target down one of those Hydras. Second one getting targeted. Now 3 Lings from behind. Will at least clear with the Marine. Here comes the drones to see if they can get a box in on one of these vultures, but unsuccessfully able to take them down. He's desperately trying to keep this hatchery alive at all costs so he can go on a counter-offensive maybe soon, but it's not working out. He's losing so many drones. This is an insane build from Royal. Usually you go for 10-10-10 where you're like, you know, you're making the gas in the factory at 10 supply rather than 8. This is such a cheesy build from Jaedong, and he taps out. Royal beats Jaedong as well. Both the Protoss and the Zerg squad have already lost a player to Royal shenanigans kicking off this week, Zan.
Royale with cheese strikes again, man. What a cheeky build. Taking out Jaedong of all people with a crazy all-in. 8 racks, 8 factory. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it before in professional play. That was a build that maybe only works one time and also doesn't work at all if the drone spots that factory. He just happened not to look in that one location behind the mineral patches, so nice hiding spot there from Royal, but that was an extremely risky play.
It was very smart. Like, I loved how he built the 8 racks so far back that even the 9 scout wasn't capable of delaying it. Yeah, really impressively well executed cheese. It's basically the same way like 6 racks is a crazy variation of 8 racks. Like 8 racks into factory off of 8 supply is like a more crazy variation of the 10-10-10 that we sometimes see. And sometimes that's what you do at the pro level. Like, you want to go for really crazy sharp timings that the other player can't account for. And it definitely worked out really well against Jaedong. Now we've got Jane Doe, Mini versus Royal. Probe already starting to come into the main base here. See if he can get a gas steal going. Royal could block the ramp though and stop this gas steal from coming online.
Yeah, he's gonna do so. Oh, wait, the medic got glitched out. Can he actually get by this? Pretty good damage onto the probe. There's 2 different sides that this can try to run by now, though, and he's only got 1 SCV. Gonna play a bit of Ring Around the Rosie. He slips by. Okay, he does get in there. It's going to be a CC first out of Royal. Going up against the Nexus first. This is actually fantastic for Royal to start off.
Yeah, I mean, Mini's obviously going to scout that early, but this is definitely a win for Royal. Like, build order-wise, you know, CC first, just a little bit better than a Nexus first. So, yeah, Royal can be happy about this. And let's see what Mini wants to do in response. Does he want to get super greedy himself and go for a crazy fast third base, or is he gonna be hyper aggressive off these two bases? He could even go for some proxy shenanigans, like making a robo out on the map or something. We'll have to see. Mini's pretty much capable of anything. He's one of these early game guys. He actually doesn't even get the gas steal. I guess it doesn't matter as much against the CC first, but wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing to slow down that gas a little bit.
And no gas steal, and not really able to seriously harass the SCV building the barracks. He's done a little bit of damage to it, but Royal pulling the appropriate number of SCVs to make sure that that doesn't cascade, spiral out of control. Has a SimCity here at the top of the ramp and should be able to deny any first Zealot that comes across trying to put on any pressure. Mini doesn't necessarily have to do that. He could just go into a super quick robo like you're talking about earlier, but SCVs in the main, Royal has a very good view of everything that's happening in the Protoss space at the moment. He should be able to identify, you know, no spinning Cybernetics core, no Dragoon popped out yet. Keep looking to try and figure out what Mini's up to behind this.
And Mini, he's taking a reasonably fast second gas as well, making me think he is going to be more tech-centric with this. Probably not going to be a proxy robo, but wouldn't be too surprised by him to throw down the robo in the main. There it is now. So he's definitely not going to be greedy behind this and try and get a fast third Nexus online. He's going to be more tech-centric in this game. And this is still pretty good for Royal, though. Like, this base configuration on Jane Doe is way better against what Mini is doing than on a lot of maps. With this high ground main base ramp with the back pocket expansion, you're really safe to most Protoss shenanigans, except for shuttle play. So I think Mini's agenda here is to maybe get some fairly early damage going on by harassing this back pocket expansion of Royal before he can get things like turret rings set up or Goliaths or Wraiths to shut down that drop play.
Yeah, robo before range there from Mini, so he is going to have a pretty quick, well-timed Reaver and Shuttle coming out here pretty soon. A lot of missed shots here, 3 in a row. Let's get the 4th shot off on that medic, but let's see how much damage he can actually get done here. SCVs are going to come off the line. 2 Dragoons making their way forward. Tank is going to pop out here soon. There it is, just in the nick of time. Going to try and deal some damage here. Can he get 1 SCV? Really good repair there from Royal. Going to pull back at the last minute. Excellent defense here. Bare minimum, no bunker. Not even a single Marine lost. So really well played by him.
Yeah, is that a spotter pylon over towards the 12 o'clock? I think Mini really considering the possibility of a drop follow-up here from Royal. It's relatively common to go for a fast starport off of one factory after you do something like a bunker expand or a CC first, so he's building a lot of spotter pylons around the map and making sure he covers pretty much every path of access with a drop from Royal. He's even got this pylon down here towards the 6 o'clock as well. Looks like that's not going to be on Royal's agenda, though. He's going to be powering up his own factory count, kind of just sitting back and macroing up on these 2 bases. So Mini kind of reserved to just taking a 3rd base a little bit belatedly. Has a quick observer because of that fast robo, so he sees everything that Royal is now up to. But he's already invested in these spotter pylons and having probes out on the map before taking this Nexus, so he can't really min-max too much of this scouting information.
Gonna get the observer. Oh, nice moves there from Mini to keep that alive. Avoiding avoiding the Goliath there is just trying to chase that down. Third base on the way for Mini. Getting a pretty early third base. Not the earliest third in the world though.
Right.
Stargate coming up. Oh. This is gonna be for
I think it's carriers.
Carrier, yeah. I mean, Carrier very popular on this map.
Yeah. I think that's definitely going to be the agenda. It will scan from Royal, sees that Stargate even before it finishes up. So that's going to be great for Royal. He can now decide, okay, maybe I want to throw down a bunch more factories soon, at least go up to 6 or so. Maybe go for a really strong attack timing. He's got a lot of time to play with. Takes, you know, a good few minutes before those carriers are actually out with a high count of interceptors, so he can chill for the time being. Mini's not slowing down either, though. He's taking this 4th base in the top left, so definitely looking to play a longer game despite going for carrier. I don't think he's hoping on gone.
There's like 3 gateways and 5 factories. How can Mini survive this when Royal knows the timing of the carrier?
With Reavers is the idea.
Right. I mean, he's going to have to do a lot of heavy lifting here to survive until carriers can actually come out in force. You need about 4 carriers to really start to be a threat. 2 with low interceptor count is very easy to just bat away or ignore as you're trying to push in. Get some damage on the Reaver right off the bat. Mini not really getting much in return there, just a little damage onto a Goliath. That's a little bit rough. Royal pushing forward with some confidence here, making a lot of gains of territory as he pushes across the map. Gateways are trying to come online now, but they're pretty far behind the curve. Royal in a scary position here. Mini trying to react the best he can by slowing things down, utilizing these high ground ridges.
Yeah, it's an idea that from Mini, but he doesn't have the level of execution as someone like Snow with those units, and the shuttle is basically on 1 HP now. He's going to try a small flank with some Dragoons and a Zealot towards the rally point of Royal to see if maybe he can turn him around a little bit, but Royal is full steam ahead. He knows exactly what Mini's up to and won't be deterred from his ambitions. He's probably going to use a few of these rallied units in the process, but he's going to just run it down on Mini's natural, knowing that there's not much production behind this and just needs to get in his face at all costs and start building turrets. If you get a decent count of turrets set up before the carriers are online, it's easier and easier to deal with the Protoss.
I like this, just 2 tanks sieging up at a time, making sure everything's pretty well spread out as he builds these turrets up. Only got the 1 SCV to build turrets, so it's a little bit rough to get a high count. Back at home, Royal defending here with just a few Goliaths, and Mini's about to try and crack him open. He's just going balls to the wall with a counterattack, similar to the game versus Stork earlier. The counterattack could actually end up doing quite a bit of damage. Oh my gosh, the shuttles have actually abandoned the Reaver here in the main base. Reaver will eventually go down. It's trading pretty well against these Goliaths, but meanwhile, huge damage in that top left, killing so many probes actually. And oh my god, SCVs coming off the line to actually fight. This is a crazy chaotic game. Again, similar to the one versus Stork, but will Royal come out ahead again here, or is Mini going to find ways to pull apart this army?
Yeah, I don't think Mini can hang on to this. This looks a little bit too strong. He would have to kind of rely on Royal making some huge errors. I don't see that happening. Okay, he's got a decent count of interceptors. There's not many Goliaths here. If these turrets get online, though, this is going to spiral out of control here for Mini. You can see he's desperately trying to target down those SCVs now. Not sure if he's going to be totally successful at cleaning this up, but there's not that much anti-air. You know, we literally got this 1 turret here at the front and some of the turrets from the low ground helping out against the interceptors as well. Seems like Royal is just barely doing it. By the time Mini squeezes out a few more interceptors and additional carriers, there's more SCVs and Goliaths showing up. He's going to build so many turrets and also keep repairing them up so that Mini can't overwhelm the tank line that's now laying siege to the main base. Natural is gone. Gas mining in the main also gone. Lost one of the Stargates too, so he's not producing many carriers anymore. And now we got a splitting of tanks to the top left to keep knocking down the economy of Mini.
It's very important too that a lot of these gateways fell. You can really only produce, you know, one gateway's worth of army plus one Stargate and one Robo as well. That's just so little production that Mini is really starting to bank up a huge amount of resources, and it feels like he just doesn't have the timing to stop this any longer. He's gonna continue to lose production facilities, and regardless of having enough income, he just can't build an army that can actually break what Royal has now, and just continuing to build turrets. He brought so many SCVs. I think this is gonna be it, guys. Royal is closing in on the victory.
Yeah, this looks like about all she wrote here for Mini as he tries to hang on desperately. There's quite a few Goliaths now joining the party inside the main base. We've got 4 carriers here for Mini, but the interceptors aren't completely maxed out, and Royal targeting down those interceptors as well, so kind of defanging the carriers and taking the wind out of their sails, so they don't have much punching power at all. There's like literally 6 interceptors or something of worth of DPS, which will actually have a little bit of a hard time chewing through all of the turrets that have been set up, and that buys time for more and more Goliaths to arrive as well. Looks like Mini's effectively dead.
Yeah, I mean, 4 production facilities versus, what does Royal have? 8? 9 at this point, maybe. He had the 5, 6 earlier, but he's got that 3rd base online now. He can add a lot more factories. He's spending his money, and Mini just can't. He can't. It's not that he, you know, doesn't want to or doesn't have the APM for it. He just doesn't have production facilities to make stuff non-stop. And even on one base, he's still got a pretty serious bank. He's gonna throw a probot on the map to try and take a hidden base over here, and he might actually kill the remainder of these tanks, but there's just too much coming in here from Royal. 5 carriers have been made, and it is scary having 5 carriers. 6th carrier actually popped out already, so 6 carriers is kind of nasty. It's something, but yeah. 1 base mining and almost no infrastructure in the main. How could Mini ever hope to come back?
Yeah, he wants to make an expansion at 6 o'clock, but he also needs money for interceptors, so he's kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. He needs to grow his economy, and he's actually going to throw down the Nexus in the main base instead. I guess he feels like he can hang on. He has got just barely enough money to make this work and hold the line against Royal. I don't think he wins the entire game from this, but he does technically survive. The back pocket expansion will be mined out soon from Mini, so just making this Nexus in the main base is only maintaining his current level of income. He's not growing at all, but it is a pretty high count of carriers, and if he can fill out all of the interceptors, maybe there's a way of making this work for Mini. Royal's doing the smart thing of also taking a 4th base and putting down additional factories as well. I'll be so impressed by Mini if he can make this work. He's got a shuttle that's ferried out a few Dragoons out onto the map as well, but he hasn't got an observer with this army, so we'll be losing some of these to the mines. It looks like he was now taking a Nexus at the 6 o'clock, but Royal just going to pounce onto the main. Carriers are not that quick of units, so now his main is exposed yet again. Forces a cancel on the Nexus there, and we'll start overrunning the infrastructure of Mini, which means he's basically got to win the game with the units he has out on the map.
Yeah, this is what you see is what you get right now. It's just Mini, what, 5 carriers, 6 carriers, and a dream, single Reaver in here as well, but that also costs money to build interceptors, or not interceptors, sorry, scarabs. So I mean, that's probably going to end up going down here pretty soon, targeting down the shuttle right now. Going to drop the Reaver on that high ground. He's just praying that he can get on top of all the factories and just keep killing everything that Royal produces until the cows come home. Eventually get some probes over towards that bottom center. I think he's shuttling over some probes right now. Yeah, he's moving them over to just keep the income rolling in. Royal is going to start to retreat now, running away from the main base of Mini as he leaves just a few units down there bottom left to finish off that Nexus. Carriers are on top of everything. It's a scary situation to be in as a Terran player once you've got no control over your production facilities. 10 kills on this Reaver. 10 kills on this Reaver. Everything coming back right now. Royal has to be really careful about how he engages in the end with this army. He's got so much open supply. He's going to float his factories away right now. Oh my god. Wait. Hold on. Is this actually doable for Mini?
It is doable, yeah. I mean, he's gonna lose this last mining base. Here's the thing, though. There is a situation in which Royal could eliminate Mini by killing all the buildings out on the map, but the one thing going for Mini is he's got all of these, like, spotter pylons around the map and in the top left as well. Like, it'd be really hard for Royal to track down all of those buildings and execute them, especially before the carriers show up to clean up the units. So we're in a very precarious situation for Royal, where it's probably better to float all of the factories up to this 12 o'clock location, make a crazy amount of turrets, and then try and go back to producing Goliaths again. But Mini also doesn't have any more economy coming in. He's got just barely enough minerals to produce another Nexus in case that was to die. But this is a very weird situation we find ourselves in, because Mini does have so many interceptors with this fleet of carriers, technically enough to overwhelm this base of Royal.
I think just focusing down interceptors is the name of the game now. There's almost no money left. You can see the money is drying up slowly but surely. Mini down to 17 minerals and nothing coming in. There's so many turrets here. Does he have enough? I think the tanks are actually under here. No, did he actually kill the tanks?
Yes.
Okay, there's tanks
two tanks under the factories.
Underneath the factories, and they're killing off the Dragoons here at the end. The Reaver may end up going down as well. Can he target it and get rid of it? He does get rid of that. Could not target the tanks under here. 2 tanks with almost no HP. That was the genius move here by Royal at the end to win this game. And there's no money left. Mini low on interceptors. Can't quite do it. And even going to send a tank over here and deny the mineral income from Mini. I think he's done it. Royal just needs to survive. He needs to weather this storm, and he will win this game.
He doesn't have any money for a probe either, even if he was to somehow get down here and save this Nexus. I think he may have just barely done it. There's not that many Goliaths out on the map, though. He's trying to trickle them out. This is obviously the last bastion of hope for Royal. There are still a decent amount of turrets. Is there a way for Mini to still win this game if he can just kill all of these turrets in time? I think Royal's having a hard time actually finishing off these carriers. Some of them are getting a little bit low on HP, but the majority of them are pretty healthy. This is insane. I think there is still a chance that Mini could barely break this base at the 12 o'clock. Oh my god, Sam.
I think carriers need a buff, guys. I don't think they're strong enough. It was only like, what, 30 turrets? 30 turrets is... Yeah, he's going to get it. He's going to get it.
Oh, he's done it.
He's done it.
He's
going to push it back. Yeah. Eventually, you run out of interceptors here. Eventually, you run out of interceptors. The repair there on the turret, I think, helped out quite a bit. Just keep these turrets alive just a little bit longer. Keep the interceptors out and attacking so that they can eventually be gunned down. And yeah, down to about 5 interceptors. Can't make anything more. And there are still there's still money coming in here to keep making Goliath. So I believe this game is over, guys. It was so close, though. Mini almost made this work despite having almost nothing, almost no buildings. GG it's called. Mini taps out. Royal continues his spree. All right, now that Royal is on a roll, I guess it's a good time to bring up the all-kill prize. 3,600,000 won for that all-kill prize. About $3,000 US, something like that. Pretty decent. I don't know how much the exchange rate has changed recently. I think it's actually dropped by quite a bit. For the Korean won's kind of dropped in value, so I'm not sure exactly what it is right now, but still a pretty hefty prize, and Royal's gunning for it here. Might be able to take it home, man. He's been playing really well, and he's had some very creative builds in a lot of these games.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It's a little bit under 2,500
Oh, really?
dollars, that is.
Oof.
US dollars. Yeah. Royal is just tearing it up today for Terran. And Action hasn't been playing his best games as of late. This could be another slam dunk for the Terran squad. It's kind of insane. Royal's gotten away with murder today. He is a very good player, don't get me wrong, but he has been able to pull off some very cheesy plays to get some quick wins under his belt in this current first week of the new season of KCM. I wonder how he's going to play here against Action. I don't think he needs to do anything too spicy. This could be a much more standard game from Royal, although knowing Royal, he's probably still going to do something a little bit off the beaten path.
Yeah, something cheeky probably coming here anyway. Action has been suffering a little bit lately. Sad to see him underperforming as of late. Hasn't quite been himself for a little while. And so Royal should have a pretty serious advantage over him. Might just want to play a more normal game. Maybe, you know, throw in a little curveball here and there. We could end up seeing, you know, a Valkyrie play or something like that. I think Valkyrie tank, very strong on this map. Valkyrie tank push is got its place on NMEstarcraft, and it's a very nice location.
Yeah.
Hard to defend those high ground bases around the map as your third if the Terran player has a tank push coming at you, and so has kind of evolved. The matchup has kind of evolved in that direction here on NMEstarcraft.
Yeah, he's currently doing a 1 Rex Academy build, so I wonder where he's gonna allocate this. Okay, there's the second Rex. Let's see if he wants to throw down a factory really soon, or if he's just gonna play a more traditional bio build. He's usually the kind of guy to mix it up and go for things like fantasy pushes with Valkyries and what have you. So far, he's not elected to go for that. The factory's now a little bit too late for that to come online in time to deal with the Mutalisk play. Seems like this is gonna be a more standard bio opening for the time being, at least.
It's going to be a really quick stim play from him. Come across the map, try to put some pressure on NMEstarcraft. Very quick rush distances here. And so, you know, if Action's not really on top of it, getting the sunken colonies down immediately looks like he is. Should have them in time here. But if you're just a couple of seconds late, you can end up dying very quickly. So I like the build from Royal. He's actually not pushing out right now. He's kind of hanging back. Generally, right before the 5-minute mark is when you do a push like this. But he was ready to start moving even before that, around like 4:45, to really start to put on the pressure and maybe punish Action. But instead, he's just going to hang back. Maybe has a different plan in mind here. Hasn't scanned the natural and even confirmed the sunken colony. So he's just... Oh, wait, he's actually got the SCV in there. So he does confirm.
Yeah.
Knowing that the proper response has been set up, Royal just going to hang back and take the win.
Yeah, he's going to do maybe a delayed play with these bio units. He might put on some pressure onto the map with them. Obviously, the Mutalisks are most likely going to finish in time, so I kind of doubt he's going to try busting the Sunkens here. That would be suicide. But maybe he's got something crazy planned where he sets up back at home and then runs around the Mutas, but I highly doubt it. I think he's going to do a more orthodox response to this. Just keep the Marines out on the map as an active threat for the Zerg to worry about. Already putting some damage onto one of those Mutalisks of Action. That's a nice win for him. Yeah, it's like 4 minutes 50 is like the fast timing move out with a stim early for Terran. And since he saw the two Sunkens with the SCV, doesn't need to really push across the map at all. Now, Action has those 7 count of mutas, can start one-shotting these SCVs in the natural, but a pretty good turret setup here from Royal. Can't kind of overstay his welcome too much, as if you're taking like 2 or 3 worth of long bolt missiles from those turrets, your mutas will eventually take too much HP to make it HP worth of damage to make it worth it. So he's actually not killing that many SCVs.
Yeah, there's some good positioning from Royal. I probably want to kill a couple of those turrets once the Mutalist threat is gone, though. They're probably blocking up his mineral line a little bit too much. Committing that many into the natural over at center left is a little bit rough on the actual mining. It doesn't look too bad, though. A couple more SCVs going to go down here. Again, 3 or 4 turrets shooting all at the same time, putting a lot of damage. Can Royal actually catch this? This is a big move. Ooh, he gets a muta. Really smart play by Royal. Hiding out on the map and then hitting that stim and running into position as the mutas are pulling back. It's kind of a safe time for the Zerg player usually. Like, right as you're pulling your mutas away is when you're going back to macro, and Royal knows that, takes advantage.
Exactly. Yeah, doing a pretty good job, and Action locked into 2 bases right now. He's going into a Queen's Nest for a potentially fast hive, and he hasn't got a 3rd base online. This could get very shaky for Action. He might be forced to do some kind of 2-base Defiler all in to try and overwhelm Royal. Royal's done a pretty good job of this little mini game of skirmishing with the mutas, but here come a massive flood of Zerglings to try and get us around on that bio as the mutalists dive in yet again. But reinforcements do arrive in time to shut that down from being too successful. Now I think Action's in a little bit of trouble because he was kind of desperate there to shut down Royal with that Muta Ling Force, and Royal didn't lose a whole lot, and he's still going to go for a fantasy style push timing, utilizing Valkyries and tanks. It's just a little bit slower than it could have been, and this actually might work out pretty good against Action.
Yeah, I mean, the Valkyries are going to push away the Mutalists, and the tanks are going to help out against any potential lurkers that are out. Does he have a Hydralisk stand? I didn't see it there when we just got the shot of the main from Action. Didn't even see the Hydra den, although the Hive is on the way. Is he going to do some sort of like 2-hatch Ultralisk play? I mean, he's trying to hide a base down in bottom right, it looks like. Surely not, though, right? Just 2 gas, 2 base, Ultra?
I guess. I mean, he could also make Guardians. It's very weird what Action is doing, because usually you can't get away with going into Crazy Zerg off of 2 bases against a high-level Terran like this. Maybe he feels like he has still got a timing that might work, but I don't think he's ever going to get there. I think this tank push is going to be knocking on his front door way before he's set up. He's going for a counterattack right now, but he's got a couple of Firebats, one of them stimming into the bunker preemptively, having to make a ton of Sunkens at the front door as well, really slowing down the already dwarfed economy of Action just to buy time against this tank push timing from Royal. And yeah, it is going to be that Ultralisk Cavern. I don't think this is going to work for Action. There's just no way he's going to be able to produce enough Ultralisks to ever have a chance of defeating this.
Yeah, I think the game's about to end, guys. So this is bit of an ill-advised play from Action. Here comes the attack from behind, but only able to get 1 connection with the Scourge, and the Valkyries are going to continue to fire. Natural is going to die, and GG is called. Action taps out. I don't know why he decided to go for that play with this style, the fantasy attack style, being so prevalent here. Royal just goes for the most commonly used strategy on this map, and it works out pretty darn well. Action has been taken down, and 1 more win here for Royal, and he's going to grab the all-kill prize. Well, I'm surprised to see Royal playing so darn well, but I guess after beating Stork, he's like, there's no one left to stop me, man. Really seems like he only loses to some lower tier Protoss players. I
Where's
don't
Shuttle
like
when
to
you need him?
use. Huh? Sorry.
Where's Shuttle when you need him?
Yeah, right.
At the one time you need Shuttle.
I don't like to call Shuttle or Stork lower tier, but we don't expect as much from him from as players
Yeah.
like Bisu and Snow, and even
Right.
Mini. But
It's not a diss, it's just objective, right?
yeah. It really does seem to be his kryptonite though, and now he's going up against Bisu. All this money on the line. I think we're going to see a great game out of Royal. Bisu definitely going to be looking to shut him down though.
Yeah. Bisu, pretty good in PvT, but Royal's also been playing on a different level this last year or so, man. He's really come into his own. And yeah, not gonna be an easy game for Bisu by any stretch of the imagination. Wonder what he's got cooked up. Wonder if we're gonna see an orthodox game from him, or is it actually gonna be a Nexus first? It's looking like it is gonna be that 12 Nexus opening, but it's not cross map. There is definitely a possibility of Royal pulling the boys or something here, and you don't even have to do that. You could go for like a mine triple expand, but that's usually not Royal's MO. He's not the kind of guy to go for a mine triple expand. That's more something like Sharp would do. I don't think we'll be seeing that out of Royal as a response, so we'll see.
Funnily enough, I feel like Royal is playing better now than he was playing when he won his ASL championship. Like, he actually
Probably,
feels stronger, despite...
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I feel like the level of everybody in the scene has kind of risen up since that championship, but...
Right.
Funnily enough, he's still not the strongest player in the world, despite being better than when he was the champion. It's kind of crazy the level that we're here and at now with ASL and with Starcraft in general.
Ooh.
Full scout here from Royal. He sees everything. It's going to be a Forge follow-up from Bisu to make sure he doesn't die to a SCV pull that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah. So this is pretty smart from Bisu. There's a few different ways you can play Nexus. For Nexus first builds, you can do a safe 2-gate where you cut probes. You can just go 1-gate core and be super greedy, but that's usually going to be punished by the Terran. And there's this other variant which is pretty safe of just going for Forge, throwing down cannons in their natural, and obviously, as you know, cannons so good at killing Marines, two-shotting them down, so really tough for Royal to punish something like this. So in a way, a mine triple expand would be the probably optimal strategy to combat this. I just don't see Royal going for that. I don't think I've ever seen Royal go for a mine triple expand, so maybe Bisu knows that as well, and he's basically setting Royal up to the only strategy that would be viable at getting the best of Bisu is something that Royal's not comfortable doing.
I feel like you could maybe go for like a drop into this as well.
Yeah, you could.
If you drop and you have mines, like if you put mines in the opponent's base right now, like it's so hard for Bisu to deal with. He is gonna have the same reason that mine triple is strong, being that the observer is super late, is also the reason why a drop with mines could be really strong as well. But it actually looks like a mine triple kind of.
Yeah,
kind of looks like Royal's gonna do that. I mean, it's so strong against this play. It just makes sense that he would try it, but yeah, kind of out of his wheelhouse. Let's see how he does with it.
Yeah, I definitely knew this was probably the most optimal response, but I did suspect that Royal wouldn't go for it just because he maybe hasn't got that much experience executing the build. But it is going to be that And I can't fault him for it. This is the best response to what Bisu is doing. There are some other okay options, like Saying was saying, the drop idea, that's not too terrible either. But in terms of just pure optimal min-maxing metagaming play, this is the response to do against Bisu right now. So I actually really like that Royal is willing to do something he's not as familiar with to combat this, because on paper, this is the strategy to go for.
And reason being, you're not going to have a very quick observer. If you go for like one gate, like Nexus first one gate, your observer is slow. If you go for 2 gate, it's even slower. And if you go for Forge, it's basically as slow as it can be. It's going to be as late as you're ever going to get your first observer out. So he's going to have a hard time pushing out. And even though Royal with the very quick triple, mine triple, is super flimsy, like he just doesn't really have anything. You know, 1 or 2 tanks maybe right now to actually block a potential attack. He just has so much time. Eventually he's going to be able to get a couple factories out. He's going to be able to get some turrets and mines out in the front as well. This is just a fake, by the way. He doesn't have anything in here.
Yeah,
but
just scouting.
He's gonna fly in there and find that, and Bisu not gonna be happy. Immediately moves to take a 3rd base. Might even have to double expand now. Try to keep up.
Yeah, the way you actually punish the mine triple is by weirdly having Bisu's skill set. He hasn't done it this game, but he used to be known for mine sweeping without observers, right?
Right.
If you're really confident and you shimmy it down the map with a couple of some dragoons, and you're quickly pulling back and holding pole position over and over again, all the way to their base, you can actually clear all of the mines before you even need an observer. But that requires a lot of micro, a lot of attention. There's a possibility of something going wrong, because what if they stack up 2 mines next to each other and you can't shoot them both down? Those kind of things. So Bisu hasn't elected to do that, but that's technically a hard counter to the mine triple, is by manual mine sweeping without observers, which Bisu used to be really good at doing. He's just not maybe as comfortable doing that anymore, and he didn't know for sure that that's what Royal was going for until he scouted with that shuttle.
Ooh, he's found a gap here in the defenses and puts a Reaver up on that high ground. Zealots are going to block here. Really nice hit there on that tank. Going to get the 2nd shot. Kills the tank and a bunch of vultures as well. SCV falls. And Reaver will take 1 more shot. No, not able to get it. Triple tank. Suddenly targeting that down, and Bisu gets denied here. Only 1 tank kill and a couple of vultures. Not what he was looking for against this mine triple.
Absolutely not. Yeah, Royal's in a pretty fantastic spot. He's gonna have to take a really quick 4th base, and honestly, there's no such thing as a quick 4 base against what Royal is doing. Like 8 minutes would be considered a normal timing to take the 4th base right now for Bisu. So the fact that he's going to be taking it like more towards like 9 minutes, 10 minutes is a little bit slow. I'm going to be honest. Like usually a 10-minute Nexus is considered fast for a 4th base, but against the mine triple, this 9-minute base is actually considered slow, relatively speaking.
We're going to see Royal explode in his factory count. It's crazy how many factories you can get with this mine triple.
You can go 9 if you want.
Yeah, 9 factories pretty comfortably and hit a 1-1 timing that's going to be insanely hard to stop. And so Bisu, he's going to rely heavily on Reavers, and he's already getting his gateway count up because he realizes that this attack from Royal is going to come hard and fast. And if he's not totally prepared for it with Zealot speed and a lot of production, he could get completely bowled over.
Right. Usually you make 7 factories into a 4th base, but when you have an early 3rd base, you can go all the way into 8 and even 9 if you want to do like a really crazy strong 180 supply timing attack. It's impossible for the Protoss to have more stuff than you at that point. So it's a good way of just kind of consolidating your lead and staying on 3 bases while you do it. Royal's kind of playing a mid-range style where I think he's only made 8 factories, but he's also optimizing his gas so that he can make more Goliaths and what have you. So he's going to make slightly less vultures than is possible, but that does mean he's going to have a ton of Goliaths with this army to help combat the Shuttle and Reaver combo as he starts to push out. You could go all the way up to 9 factories and make the most insane amount of vultures you've ever seen in your life, but he's doing a more mid-range style off of these 8 factories, and this might be a good choice. It does make sure that you've got plenty of tanks and enough Goliath support when you do finally push out. Sometimes you'll go for a slightly faster move out when you do this. Like, if you're going for the 9 factory vulture tank style, you're probably pushing out about 20 supply later than this. So he wants to get out onto the map a little bit extra quickly against Bisu.
Yeah, Bisu is in position here, ready to start harassing this army, but we're all starting to open up the lane, man. He can move along the left-hand side now. He will have to go down a ramp and then back up a ramp if he wants to take that left-hand side, the more expedited position. Oh my god! Almost loses that shuttle. So darn close. No zealot speed here just yet. It's about to finish up, though. Huge amount of zealots are coming up from the left-hand side, but they're not upgraded enough yet, and there are so many vultures spilling out of the gate of the factories at the moment. There's the zealot speed. 2 shuttles coming forward. Does he have storm to potentially try and shut this down? No, it's just pure
Probably
zealot.
not.
And a lot of vultures are here. I guess he's getting on top of the front line. Some of the splash is coming down. He's actually getting a huge hit inside the middle of all these tanks as well. This Reaver does amazing damage. So many tanks have been killed. Dude, Bisu holds for now.
Yeah, it does a pretty good job of smacking this attack down. It's not quite over yet. Obviously, the Terran can still rally units to the front, but he did cripple the tank count pretty effectively. The 9 factory style with slightly more vultures probably would have dealt with this a little bit better. Bisu has an observer in the main base and saw that this was going to be a more mid-range style from Royal with slightly less vultures than usual. So he was able to kind of metagame that with just an absolute ton of zealots, hardly any dragoons, and waited for that leg enhancements to kick in. Royal not going to slow down, though. He's going to try and secure these bridges. Very hard for a Protoss player to attack into this position, but it's also hard for the Terran player to advance beyond these bridges unless he can get all the way up onto this high ground location. So for the time being, Bisu does survive, but I wonder if he can actually hold on the longer this game goes on. Royal going to be taking a 4th base behind this at the 6 o'clock and start to get entrenched.
He's so close in supply right now to Bisu, but not everything is here just yet. Zealot's going to come forward, jump on top of everything. Zealots are immediately vaporized. Some DTs pop out. Reaver doing quite a bit of good work, and tanks will be dealt with, resetting that critical artillery. Once again, Royal is shoved back and taking a 4th base behind this.
Yeah, I actually feel if he did the 9 factory variant, he would have won the game. The fact that he was kind of going for this like more mid-rangey style, being a bit more careful with how he was spending his gas, I think that's actually cost him. If he had gone for 9 factories, made more vultures, and delayed the attack ever so slightly, probably would have worked out better against what Bisu ended up doing in this game. But let's see how this game develops. I mean, Royal's still in a pretty good position. It's not like he's suddenly losing the game or anything. It's just that Bisu has reset the game state. This is now much more closer to even. Bisu taking a 5th base behind this. Since he did cripple the tank count of Royal, it slows down the game a lot. And because this was a 1-1 build, it takes a long time for him to actually start getting those additional upgrades. You can see the starport not even finished yet here for Royal. That's going to buy so much time for Bisu to grow exponentially in this game and have a pretty solid late game to work with.
In the next fight, Bisu is going to have High Templar. He had a huge gas bank a little earlier, a couple thousand gas. Was just kind of sitting there waiting, and he's managed to crank out a ton of High Templar behind this. Pretty good mind connection on some of those Zealots, softening them up for the next attack. But Royal's going to have to be really careful when he pushes out. This time, has to spread exceptionally well to make sure that Bisu doesn't get massive value from storms and reset that tank count again. After
there's a drop.
Oh, drop in the natural. We're not getting it on screen.
Yeah.
Big drop in the natural. Big storms as well. Oh my gosh, so many kills there. Reaver as well, getting huge damage. You're gonna look for another shot on some of these tanks. Nasty Reaver Scarab. I think that was about 14 kills in total. A lot of good damage from Bisu onto Royal's economy. But Royal's still hanging in there with a pretty decent supply, man. He's very close to Bisu overall. Yeah. And he's starting to get these other upgrades online at the same time.
Yeah, this could end up being a really good macro game. Bisu is just starting to take the main base in the top right. He'll probably start throwing down a couple of gateways up there soon as well to set up an additional rally point. Not necessarily to reinforce his army, but just to have more defender units up there, like High Templars from the high ground and what have you. This is a pretty wild game. It did look like there was a chance of Royal just steamrolling over Bisu with that first timing attack. Bisu held it well. And now it looks like we're going to have a real slugfest between these two. Royal still just churning away on those 4 bases, remaxing out now. But Bisu has grown pretty quickly once those bases come online in the top right. He's going to have 7 bases to the 4 of Royal. Although the mineral smoothing of Royal is pretty good. You can see he's not letting his main and natural dry up too quickly, so that he's going to be as optimized as possible, able to remax out over and over again with a bank starting to pull for him as well. He's taking the bottom right with an SCV building a CC now. He needs to lock Bisu out from being able to come down to this bottom right. So he's being hyperactive with these vultures to pull Bisu around the map. He doesn't want to let Bisu stay on the southern hemisphere for any amount of time. Picks off a High Templar. Just needs to keep Bisu busy, and a drop coming online as well here from Royal to the top right. But there's no SCVs here just yet, so this drop actually won't be really accomplishing a whole lot. He's actually probably considering rotating that to a different position, but decides to just dump out the units anyway. But this isn't going to really do much for him.
Well, at least it's keeping Bisu busy, and in the meanwhile, picking off some probes moving through the middle of the map. That's a nice pick up for Royal, slowing down Bisu from fully saturating the top right. I mean, Bisu front-loading a lot of his production over there in the top right, setting up so many gateways ahead of time so that he has like a full rally point as those extra bases come online. Both players very close to maxing out here. Royal just kind of buying time and doing whatever he can to slow things down as he waits for additional upgrades to finish and gathers his army for the next attack.
Yeah, it seems like he's starting to produce science vessels as well. Not only are they detector units to help out against trickles of DTs, like Bisu is commonly known to make, but really importantly is EMPs. If you can get a big EMP off over a few High Templars, that can be enough to tip the scales of a fight. He needs to also be careful not to stack up his tanks too much, to allow too much value from the Psionic Storm of Bisu. But Bisu did a good job of slowing down Royal from wanting to take this bottom right base. He's got him locked on these 4 bases. The main and natural dangerously close to being mined out here for the Terran. He might actually have to take 9 o'clock instead and kind of defend by attacking on this vertical access. But that also opens up the 6 o'clock to counterattack, which is Bisu's agenda right now. He's running it down. Royal moving out onto the center of the map with the bulk of his army. He's actually not responding to this threat at the 6 o'clock. He's just evacuating the SCVs there, and we'll be going for a massive counterattack.
Wow, he finished that CC just barely in time. Can he get it away to the high ground? Royal splitting his army, possibly attacking top right and holding the center of the map at the same time. Bisu running in with a lot of High Templar and Dragoons, actually losing quite a bit there. Defensive line, secondary defensive line from Royal could be overwhelmed as the army continues to push forward. Nice mine connection there. Killing a lot of Zealots, though. and the rallies are starting to come out here to try and save this base. Royal actually needs this base to live here because he is running out of money everywhere else. His main and natural pretty much mined out. Center left has been taken. The CC falls. Dude, Royal's not paying attention to this. He's really having a hard time multitasking everywhere right now. He's doing so many moves over here in the top right, killing this base, pushing into the top right. Falling a bit behind in terms of his micro and multitasking during this fight, but in fact Bisu starting to kind of walk in and feed into the army now, losing all of his dragoons, or nearly all of his dragoons, pushing forward. There's 2 CCs floating to the south that can be sent forth and landed, and Royal can kind of recover that mining here in a moment. So many High Templar. My God, what is this, a tasteless game? 12 High Templar over here in this army.
Yeah, just 1 EMP would be disastrous, but I think he did use energy on a D-Matrix before, so actually can't probably use that spell just yet. Bisu getting away with it for the time being. There's a decent minefield for him to chew through here. A lot of army left over for Royal that was more or less untouched, but these storms are pretty devastating as well. A lot of this army clumped up into small patches. And Bisu can now run into this mineral line and storm the SCVs. Oh my God, this could be devastating for Royal. So many SCVs in one storm. This is problematic for Royal. This is his last bastion of hope until he gets that 6 o'clock saturated. There was even a DT down there. And now, after losing that many SCVs, he's going to struggle to produce out of all of those factories. He is going to clean up this DT at the 6 o'clock, but at what cost? He's barely mining at all right now.
There's got to be like 20 SCVs left at this point. So many have been killed at the bottom center, at the mineral only, and now at the center left as well. Royal coincidentally still has a very large army. He's got a lot of tanks. He's got quite a few vultures kind of running around the map looking to see what he can do. Bisu trying to recover some of these bases as well, getting his mineral only online and clearing out mines, looking to potentially set up this natural and maybe the center right as well. Royal could potentially kind of slow this game down, try to get into a split map situation here on Polestar. That might be his best option right now, because an attack coming across the map at Bisu will probably get shut down. Playing a little bit more defensively might be his best option for the time being. Tanks in the middle, kind of spread out, taking some pretty decent trades with the mines. I don't see an observer with that army, so Bisu being a little bit sloppy with that move forward, and army has been reduced. I don't think he can break either of these 2 bases, and that's really all you need here is Terran. 2 mining bases to keep the economy rolling.
Yeah, Bisu's double expanding. He was only on 2 bases worth of mining, while Royal was stuck on just that 9 o'clock, so wasn't like Bisu was outscaling Royal in a crazy way or anything. There is a chance of Royal to turn this game around, especially if Bisu blunders into attacking the 6 o'clock right now. 4 speed shuttles bombing out onto those tanks with Storm, with Zealot. Some pretty good Sonic Storm on the SCVs, but there's actually not loads of SCVs down here. Mostly just army, so not the best of trades here for Bisu. If he can shut down this base, that would be huge, but it looks like it's not cost efficient enough. Royal technically living, and yeah, Bisu not able to close out the game just yet. He hasn't got that many probes himself, at least not at optimal locations. I think the Nexuses have just finished up at the mineral only and the natural in the top right quadrant, but he hasn't yet started to mine from those. If Royal, like you say, can get into a position where he can start to split the map, slow the game down a lot, Royal technically would be in advantage, but it's going to be tough to get there since he's going to be so much slower at maxing out than Bisu will be as Bisu starts to transfer workers to those newly established bases.
40 supply advantage, it's not impossible right now for Royal. If he takes a good trade, he can definitely still win a fight, but he doesn't have max upgrades. It's just 2-2. So he hasn't been continuing to upgrade throughout this game. It's been so scrappy, you can't really blame him. There's been so much back and forth here. He hasn't had time or money to do so. Dive in towards the center left. You can see Royal reacting to this, sending a lot of forces over here to try and assist. EMP goes down. Really nice EMP, landing on one of these High Templar, but did he really deny any storms there?
Don't think so.
Kind of good dodges, though, on the other hand, avoiding a lot of the storms with most of the vultures and trading off pretty cost efficiently. Most importantly, keeping that mining at center left going without disruption. And now pushing in towards the middle of the map. This shuttle's going to go down for free. Big mistake there from Bisu. Any small error could be the end of either player at this point.
Yeah, this is a pretty sizable army from Royal as well. Now going for a tempo play, sensing weakness. Rather than just sitting back and letting Bisu skirmish with him, he's going to take the fight back to the back line of Bisu at some of these newly established bases, and if he can start playing whack-a-mole with these expansions, Bisu could find himself in a lot of trouble. Bisu himself going to be eyeing up a counterattack opportunity at the 9 o'clock while this goes on. 2 Templars also dying for free there. That's a shame because of the rally points probably. I don't know what to make of this game, saying it's so scrappy. Royal is so low on supply, but if he can get up into this top right and knock out all of these bases, Bisu won't be mining. 12 o'clock is effectively mined out. This is such a weird situation.
I mean, we're going to see Royal go down to 1 base mining, and actually Bisu as well. I mean, top center is about to mine out.
Yeah.
50 supply, 60 supply advantage for Bisu, but the army is kind of holding strong here in the middle. Taking a head-on fight might be a big mistake, and so Bisu is kind of rotating around. Where does he send these shuttles that they can be effective in shutting down the remaining mining of Royal? I guess straight towards the bottom center is the answer. And Royal's going to respond by throwing a ton of vultures down here, but oh my god, what a mine connection. Absolutely massive, killing so many of these vultures. EMP goes down, shutting off the High Templar and Storm of Bisu. Pretty good pull on the SCVs, keeps a majority of them alive, but he's dropped dangerously low, below 100 supply. That is a scary number once you've reached it for the Terran player. 100 supplies where you're just about ready to tap out.
Well, the only thing different in this scenario is there's hardly any SCVs, so most of this supply is army. So he might still be able to weather the storm here against Bisu. Well, these tanks are clumped up, though. If he's got just one more storm, oh my gosh, that's a valuable storm there for Bisu. Doesn't kill the tanks, but takes them dangerously low. 1 base Terran, though, is better than 1 base Protoss. Here comes another storm jump, though, from Bisu, crippling what little SCVs Royal has remaining. A pretty good drill from him, avoiding too many losses. He's also now floating over a CC to keep expanding, and Bisu hasn't yet been able to start establishing additional base, so the longer this goes on, the better it can get for Royal. Bisu actually in a pretty funky situation, because it's actually really tough to trade with the Terran in low numbers like this. It's not like Bisu can just quickly remax and go again anymore. He's got to be very technical, kind of like a Special Forces UMS style, where he gets every value out of his units that he can muster. Another couple of shuttles making their way downtown to that 6 o'clock position, but, you know, he's starting to spread his SCVs between these 2 bases, so hopefully he won't take too many losses here. Does manage to get an evacuation on the pretty good storm dodges here from Royal as well, keeping 5 of these SCVs alive. And he hasn't really got many more than that as well. He's on 71 supply, and the bulk of that is pure units. I don't even think he's got 20 SCVs anymore. It's that critical. But he does have 2 bases worth of mine. Looks like he's got like 10 SCVs or something. Bisu's got a ton of probes, but hasn't got the bases to mine with.
And Royal just not defending this bottom center base properly, leaving a few Goliaths there to defend and deny some of these drops would have been massively impactful, but Bisu's just lowered him to such a difficult number of SCVs. Like, look at how slowly the economy is coming in right now for Royal. Like, he needs to sit here and just make SCVs for like the next couple of minutes. While Bisu is cranking out supply and potentially taking more bases, he's gonna slip by with some vultures, looking to kill a couple of probes and slow things down. And I mean, this is great, preventing Bisu from mining off of a second base. He's only on one base, and this is actually mining kind of low. But I mean, this game is so incredibly close. This might be one of the greatest TVPs of the year, man. This is a fantastic back and forth between these two players, and I'm really unsure of how this will end up.
I think Bisu should win, but it's possible he steps on a few rakes, makes some blunders, and if Royal can spread his tanks really well before the fight happens, I think he can definitely make it. But he needs to be on top of his scans. He needs to constantly be scanning for the army positioning here of Bisu, because the observer is trailing the army and seeing where it's moving to and how it's set up.
I think he's only got one
caught
scan.
with his pants down out of position.
I think he's got one scan.
That's problematic. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not ideal, saying
all
to
the
say
other
the least.
CCs have floated. Yeah, I think that's all he's got, man. Okay, he's got one more. He's got one more at the bottom center.
He's got hardly any SCVs. Oh, this is such a bizarre game. Bisu's technically winning. He can also storm this third base from inside the main. Here you can see he's going for that now. Oh, he's got hardly any workers, so anything he does lose is so painful. Pretty much all of his money is being allocated to scanners and SCVs almost exclusively. Going to be trying to hit the 6 o'clock as well as the SCV train tries to evacuate. Didn't kill all of them, but takes some of them down to low HP. Kills about 3 total. And that's honestly a large percentage of the economy of Royal right now. So every SCV counts. And Bisu gradually getting another Nexus online. The longer this goes on, the better it will be for Bisu if he can keep crippling the economy of Royal.
Okay, well, Bisu's 100 supply ahead now. I think it's pretty clear he should win the next fight. Barring some sort of minor miracle from Royal. I mean, he gets a couple of High Templar here, but this next fight is going to be very difficult. Triple shuttle diving on top here. He immediately targets down one of them. Second one goes down very quickly as well. Storms go down on a lot of these frontal tanks. A few tanks still remain, but the storms are going to cleave through that. Dragoon's clearing up the rest of this army. There's another army in reserve here for Bisu, but Royal has to tap out 33 supply at the end, man. What a close battle here between these two. An absolute nail-biter of a game. Possibly one of the best of 2026. An awesome game for our first week of KCM Season 2. All right, we're going to get a Bisu versus Soma match. You'll love to see it. Bisu spawning over here in the top right. Soma in the bottom right. And Bisu just snatches the victory away from Royal, man. He was so close. 4 wins in a row, excuse me. One more win would have brought him that all-kill prize. Now Bisu's got the opportunity to reverse all-kill. If he can get through Soma, Light, and JYJ, it's a tall order, but he could potentially take home that 3 million won. If not, it'll continue to grow throughout Season 2, and someone else will be able to claim that prize a little later on.
Bisu checking the 12 o'clock to see if there's an Overlord en route to his natural. Sees there's no Overlord, so he's going to go scout the southerly positions in the bottom left and bottom right. That was a crazy game between Royal and Bisu, but whoever could win this week has to beat everyone else, because obviously one of these players is going to go down now, and they will have to not only win this game but then kill 2 Terran players in a row afterwards. So Terran squad can still be pretty happy with this result. It's a strong likelihood of winning this week. As it stands, they've only got 1 more player to beat and 2 lives to do it with. But who knows? I think Bisu and Soma are very capable of going on a winning streak and taking 3 guys down in a row.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Honestly, this could be like a semi-final or a final of an ASL in the future. This is such a good match. These two players are absolutely incredible. Similar to, you know, like a Royal Bisu match. This would be an absolutely fantastic best of 7. If we were able to get that at some point, I would love to cast that, but we only got the one here, and so in the best of 1 scenario, will Bisu be able to overcome Soma, the previous ASL champion? So far, he's opened with the Gateway expansion. He's going to be defending here on the ramp. We've seen this back and forth 100 times. The 3 Lings doing their best to do what they can to slow down and prevent the Zealots from leaving the base. Just keep that threat alive. Almost loses one of those Lings, but manages to keep it in the game for now. 2 Zealots would love to go out on the map and force additional Lings, but because the threat of the run by, he's going to keep those back for now.
Yeah. Let's see what happens between these two. Because like you said, this could very easily be, you know, semi-finals, finals type game you'll see in the ASL. I have no idea who is likely to win this. Pretty good catch, maybe surrounding one of these Zealots would be huge here for Soma. Bisu, though, kind of known as a Protoss versus Zerg specialist, so despite Soma being this really feared and respected Zerg, I think Bisu's up to the task. Let's see how well he's going to perform here. Soma pressuring the front, knowing that this cannon's going to be quite delayed. But this is a nice optimized hold from Bisu. He pressured the front with 3 Zealots while waiting for an additional Zealot back at home to finish up and try and force more Lings out from Soma, who just now got his 3rd hatchery online. Usually you will be making about 12 Lings total against a Gateway first, but doesn't want to let Soma get greedy in any sense of the word. And it is going to be a Hydra Den here from Soma. And 973 usually don't want to go 973 against the Gateway expand unless you can catch some of the Zealots, and hasn't really done a good job of reducing that Zealot count, but he's seen the core in the wall. He knows that the forge and the cannon timing is slightly delayed, maybe feeling like he can break through here regardless. Does take out that Gateway, limiting the Zealot production, and now getting a pretty good surface area on these Zealots before the cannon can finish up. So this 973 could definitely be successful now. After killing that Gateway, after reducing the Zealot count, this is now becoming a more optimal choice from our Zerg.
I haven't seen Soma do a 973 for ages, man. But this could be pretty strong. Oh, I think he just went to 4 drones at the 3rd.
Yeah,
so
he did.
He might end up throwing out an extra hatchery. That's a more modern version of the 973, where you go for an extra couple of drones and make sure that you can have a bit of a smoother transition if the 973 doesn't work. Eventually, with that extra drone at the 3rd, you will have enough for an extra hatchery, and then that extra hatchery will allow you to kind of springboard with enough larvae to build enough drones to transition. It's a small adjustment, but it makes a world of difference. Soma's still going to go ahead with this Hydralisk bust, though. Diving in here, trying to get a cannon potentially. No, 2nd cannon is done, and a 3rd one, I think, just finished as well. No 3rd cannon just yet. 3rd cannon is getting close, so there's that extra hatcher I was talking about. Does Soma just start the transition right away, or is it going to continue to build Hydras back at home? That's what we're waiting for.
Maybe a little bit of both. I think he's going to kind of do a fake Hydra bust. He'll make a few more Hydras so that there's no chance of Bisu stopping him from killing this Gateway, and he also needs some Hydras back at home to defend the Overlords from the Corsairs as well. Looks like Bisu has correctly identified that he doesn't need to make that many cannons, and he can cut Corsair production as well. So Bisu should be fairly optimized at dealing with this transitional point from Soma. Soma did also transfer a drone over to the 3rd, going up to 5 relatively early on. And Bisu gonna fight back against that Hydraling to stop this core going down so soon. If he can save it, that would be ideal, so he can make a pretty timely robo later on about having to reproduce it, saving him 200 minerals. But It is pretty low. Hasn't got that many zealots, and he doesn't know for sure if there's any additional hydras out on the map. His Corsairs are checking around, but it's possible a few hydras slip by their vision range. So he's being very tentative about how he moves out against those hydras, but looks like he is going to save the core, which is a little bit of a win for Bisu.
I like it. Bisu building the bare minimum number of cannons to stay alive. Like, you don't want to go with anything less than 4 against a 973, or you're just begging to be busted. So he manages to get away with that. Now he's got a fair number of zealots to start pressuring Soma. Soma had that extra hatchery, like we talked about earlier, so he can kind of drone up heavy before switching back into Hydras to defend this zealot pressure. But Bisu's been doing a bit of work with the Corsairs, getting bits of damage and killing overlords here and there. Now with the zealots coming forward, he may get even more overlord damage, and he's actually going to threaten the 3rd base. That's a good SimCity from Soma. It's going to be hard to dive in on that. Really difficult to dive in on those hydras, so he actually backs away. Does he have something like a DT coming, though? Because there's no overlord at this base to try and defend. It seems like Beast is just pure zealots for the time being, but there are opportunities here and there to try and break open Soma after this failed, well, semi-failed, I suppose, Hydralisk bust the 973.
Those should be 2 overlords that are building at the 3rd base now because of how long the eggs have been online there. So I imagine he would have overlords in time to deal against the DTs. Let's see how Bisu fares coming into natural. The Hydra's a little bit out of position, so he can get relatively good surface area on these. Drone drill coming off the line to try and help out. Bisu doing a good job, though, of cleaving through those Hydras with the side blades. Hydra's having to rotate from the 3rd. This attack won't kill Soma, but it is doing a good job of killing off a lot of the Hydras, also forcing some lost mining time. Not the most optimal of attacks here from Bisu, but it wasn't terrible either. The only problem is it might make it a lot more difficult now for Bisu to secure a 3rd base.
Some of those zealots and some of those zealots were getting a little bit stuck up on top of each other, having a hard time getting in. Actually surround and kill anything from Soma, but now the DT is sneaking into this base. Could make up for those earlier losses. Bisu does lose the Cyberknight score there at the front. I'm not sure how far along he was with the upgrade there, the range upgrade, but it's super necessary to finish range for the Dragoons. And regardless, you have to rebuild that Cyberknight score to keep building Dragoons. So that kind of slows down Bisu in this moment.
Yeah.
Losing all those zealots, throwing away those zealots also hurts because that's the front line for the Dragoon force, and that means he's going to have to reproduce a few zealots to make sure that he at least has something to buffer for the Dragoons as they start to come out. You're really hoping for about 2 groups of Dragoons, 24 Dragoons. That's when the army becomes truly scary, but it does need a bit of a buffer force in front of it.
Ooh, DT down here in the bottom left. Gonna probably get a cancel on that hatchery, and indeed he does. And luckily for Bisu, did manage to throw down that robo before the core died, so won't sandbag his observer timing too much here, which is important because Soma did go for some lurkers to kick things off, and Bisu now needs to consolidate his army, making sure it stays strong and protective of this lane to the 3rd base. He needs to get a 3rd base underway very quickly, and he's kind of already done his job. He's stopped the Zerg taking a fast 4th. If he can only get this 3rd online, that'd be huge. Is that a drop from Soma in the main base?
Surely not, right?
So, there's still some overlords. Maybe it's just a fake. Maybe it's just a fake, yeah. I guess it could be a lurker drop. There could be like a couple of lurkers in one of these overlords here going to the natural.
I did build lurkers. Huh.
Seems like it is just a fake.
Interesting.
And it has kind of worked. I mean, it did pull Bisu back.
It forced him to pull probes as well. Looks like it's all going to be dealt with. Bisu, I mean, excuse me, Soma has been leaning into drops a lot lately. Not on this map specifically,
Right.
but on some of these other maps like Jane Doe and Matchpoint, he's been doing a lot of drop plays, so can't blame Bisu for being pretty cautious in responding to that. But the fake ends up working out really well, buying some time for Soma and setting up for this counterattack potential. He's going to head up towards the top center. Bisu did not start the Nexus there. He's going to bear down with the full army. Is there going to be a massive flank to potentially take that out? Oh god, Dragoon throwing his life away over on the rally point. Zealots just running forward into a lot of these spines, and so many Zealots are going to end up going down before the engage really happens. This Dragoon count is so small here, Shun. He really does not have a good base of army. Has quite a few storms and will be able to leverage them to kill quite a few of these lurkers and hydras, but I'm worried, man. I'm really worried about this army getting completely surrounded and absolutely annihilated as Soma closes in.
Yeah, he's chosen to go into the third here of Soma. This is pretty risky. His army is cut off from getting out of there. He might get a lot of drone damage, but Soma has the 6 o'clock as well. Looks like he is escaping with a lot of drones, so Bisu not actually crippling the economy too much. Pretty good Sonic Storm on the Hydras as they surge in to the natural. Not much Storm left over for Bisu to work with, and he is cutting off the head of the snake here. The majority of Bisu's forces going down. So close to an additional storm, but not quite there. Hatchery getting pretty low at the third, but it does live. Bisu taking his own natural third location instead of the 12 o'clock now. And observers, as they try and exit, also getting shut down. This is pretty painful for Bisu. This is definitely a big tempo shift going towards Soma's favor now. He's going to get that 6 o'clock saturated. He's effectively won the fight. And Bisu's third, kind of lagging behind schedule.
That core group of Dragoons, although it was small, it's still very important to keep it alive. Diving in like that, losing everything, means that Bisu is in a bit of a desperate situation. He's going to try and throw in a Hail Mary DT, try to get a few kills as he can. 3, possibly even more going down as Soma attempts to attack in and prevent Bisu from really getting this third base online. Couple storms go down, but Hydra's attacking into this corner. The Dragoons trying to hold their own from that high ground. It's a good position for them to attempt to hold their own. 10 kills at that third base. Dragoons are falling, though, and the probes will have to be pulled away from the third base.
Yeah, he does kill the Nexus at the third location of Bisu. He's got a couple more minutes of the main and natural before they dry up. This DT killing about 11 or so drones at that third base. Doesn't quite finish off the hatchery, but some compensation going to Bisu. It's just not enough after losing that third base. Unfortunately, we'll have to tap out. Protoss dreams of having a really great start to the season have been dashed, but there's so many more weeks remaining that they can still turn it around like in the previous season that we had. Now Soma has a couple of Terrans to chew through if he wants to put some points on the board for his team.
Ooh, a tantalizing matchup here with Light versus Soma coming up next. This is going to be a banger, boys. I mean, Bisu versus Soma was good. We've got Light spawning in the bottom right-hand corner now to take on Soma. Has absolutely been performing lately. Light at the top of his game going into this season of ASL. This first week of KCM was played right in between Group A, B, and C, D of round of 16. So a very fresh set of games. And these guys are definitely at the cutting edge and peak of their performance. Light going to be setting up a wall here at his front. Soma cross map on Octagon. Very likely we're going to see a 12 hatch out of him.
Yeah, and this should be an interesting matchup between these two gamers. Light's a bit of a different Terran than a lot of the others in this matchup. He's kind of known for cutting SCVs and going crazy on his mid-game production. Around about 35 or so SCVs, he'll just stop making them and do an insane mid-game push timing against you. He's not known for like sunken busting you at that first like 5-minute mark, but he does do these sort of pre-lurker, pre-dark swarm timings where he has so much marine and medic to overwhelm you with that even if you do make a ton of sunkens everywhere, you can still find yourself in a lot of trouble. And also this map in particular, Octagon, very strong for TVZ. It's difficult for the Zergs to get a 4th gas online here. Sometimes you're having to take, say, the 12 o'clock as your 3rd gas as the Zerg, which doesn't feel good. You've got 2 entrances to it for a start. And then how do you easily get a 4th gas online? It's not so convenient to just take a natural base on a different location as your 3rd here for Zerg. So the late game can be a little bit tricky to navigate comparatively to a lot of these other maps.
Let's see how Soma decides to cope with that. He's going to be chasing down this SCV as best he can, and yeah, I agree with you with what you're saying about Light being a guy who likes to cut SCVs and do those sort of mid-game timings, but he's also capable of doing things like going for early wraiths. His wraith control is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Can absolutely go for like a Valkyrie play or something like that as well. Basically everything under the sun Light can do. I don't see him play too much mech, but he certainly capable of doing pretty much any style of TVZ.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's a reason why I call him Daddy Terran or Pappy Terran or anything. He basically is a father figure in this for this race, and does do a lot of mentorship to the other Terran pros like Barracks and what have you. And a lot of Terrans look up to him for his way of thinking about the game. Like on Retro, you know, he would explain to people about how to best use tanks to exploit the expansions that players would go for. Like, he just thinks about the game a little bit differently than some of these other guys, maybe only rivaled by someone like Flash when it comes to just the wealth of experience that he has and ability to theory craft the best tactics available to overwhelm their opponents. And you can see with this very quick factory timing here from Light, it does look like he is gearing up to do some kind of Valkyrie build. And it is very common for Light to not go too crazy in the early game with something like a 2-rack stim timing, instead optimizing for a mid-game strategy. And it is going to be that 1-1-1 build, most likely a Valkyrie style, even a fantasy build where he's going to build tanks and Valkyries to try and beat Soma before that hive tech kicks in.
This is not a bad idea. Valkyrie play has been really popular recently, and it can be hard to deal with for sure. Soma has some incredible Scourge control, and does oftentimes take out early Valkyries, really removing the teeth from a build like this, and taking the bite away from the Fantasy-esque style of play that we usually see as a follow-up. However, Light is very good at controlling his Valkyries. He's pretty good at reaching that critical mass, which is definitely the goal for a play like this, getting up to like 3-4 Valkyries. And we've seen players making strides in finding ways to get to that level by it's not really like a special technique or control that they're really using, but just recognizing that it's more important to keep those Valkyries alive than, you know, keep every single SCV alive in this early game. You know, trading out immediately with the Valkyrie and losing it to a couple of Scourge is where you end up losing the game.
Right.
And, you know, losing 2 or 3 extra SCVs to just keep the Valkyrie alive tends to be the better trade. We'll see if Light's able to make that calculation here as well.
Yeah, it's a big win condition for Zerg. If you can snipe one or two of the first 2 Valkyries, it's like gold dust. That really does hiccup what the Terran is trying to achieve. Nice slide micro there from Light, making sure he gets a bit of DPS onto that Muta flock. Soma taking an expansion down in the bottom left. Not too much behind schedule. And yeah, we'll see how this game progresses. I think I do favor Soma a little bit more than Light, but on this map in particular, it's a little bit tricky to play ZVT. The one thing going for Soma is that it's also cross map, so it takes a little bit longer to get across to start utilizing those tanks into firing positions to overwhelm him. So might be able to navigate this well with a few extra seconds to work with. If he can get a snipe on one of these Valkyries, it'll be huge. He's got a couple of pairs of Scourge to do so. Let's see if he can get a catch on one of them.
Yeah, this is the moment I'm talking about, right as we've got like close to that critical mass of Valkyries. If Light is careless at all or tries to deal damage to these mutas as they start a bit of harassment, he could end up losing those and never really reaching the mass of Valkyries to where, like, yeah, don't fire, don't fire. Oh my god, okay. See, this is what I'm talking about. You don't need to attack here. As the Valkyrie user, keeping the Valkyries alive could be more beneficial overall. He's still got 2 Valkyries, so you know, not all is lost here. If he lost both of them, like, he would just end up getting overwhelmed by pure Ling Muta. But as it stands, there's still a potential for Light, but he is far away from getting a critical mass here, and he's gonna try and take this fight. There's another connection from the Scourge, just targeting everything down. Another pair of Scourge comes in, and Soma absolutely wipes this out. Incorrect decision here from Light by pushing out right now, and especially after losing that first Valkyrie, not waiting for the critical mass. Again, 3 to 4 Valkyries, maybe 4 or 5 Valkyries. That's when you can start to fight the mutas and kill every single Scourge underneath the stack.
Yeah, Soma's going to be pretty comfortable in this game going forward. Light gonna have to go back to the drawing board and play a bit more of an orthodox style, throwing down a science facility now. Soma did delay a lot of his economy to do that. He made a ton of Zerglings, but it doesn't matter. After killing that massive Bioforce and the Valkyries, these lurkers are well enough timed where he's going to be safe at both locations, and really, Light has lost most of his mid-game timing potential as a result of losing that initial force. So Soma is basically in the driver's seat for the time being, and that's not a position Terrans want to be in the mid-game. Usually it's the Terrans running amok in the mid-game. He's trying to be active with some speed vultures, trying to do a lot with a little. Maybe there's a chance he can run into the main base if these lurkers are not borrowed in the natural. But it doesn't look like he's going to get it. Soma was even prepared to body block with the lurkers, interestingly enough, in case that did end up occurring.
Are we going to see a factory explosion here? Switching all the way into mech, potentially? Not quite yet.
I'm not so convinced.
Some buildings in there in the main base, but it looks like just a third for now. Double Evo chamber back at home for Soma. Nexus, excuse me. Hive on the way in the main base. And here's at least mines finish researching from Light. So, you know, he's thinking about getting as much value as he can from this factory. Whether he adds more factories on or not remains to be seen. He needs to at least double expand effectively if he wants to fully switch into mech, and it can be a little bit hard to defend with Soma being so active on the map.
Yeah, and Soma does get a cancel on that CC that was trying to be set up on location by Light. He does have a backup CC to maybe either float back up there or to the mineral. Here comes that vulture run by, and actually can kill a couple of drones here. Stop the mining of Soma. Going to be hiccuping his economy just a little bit. This isn't crazy amounts of damage for Light, but he does kind of need every help that he can get after losing that main standing army to begin with. And he's only producing one starport worth of vessels for now. And okay, here's the factory explosion saying. So there's going to be at least about 3 factories worth. I'm not sure if this is going to be a full-on mech switch from him, but he's definitely going to start producing a lot of factories and doing some kind of biomech play, if not a total mech transition.
All right, well, switching into mech could become a pretty cool game, actually. Is he upgrading? No upgrades. So, you know, he might just build a few tanks. Like, he might just go triple factory tank with a whole bunch of Marines and just play bio tank, which is not a bad way to play. Okay, there we go. Now even more factories. He's fully switching.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's settled now. Does need to start that upgrade though pretty soon.
Yeah, and he doesn't have this additional gas setup. Soma trying to slow down this CC being made is successful in sniping that SCV. Now trying to take his own 4th base at the 12 o'clock, and it looks like it is going to be an Ultralisk build from Soma. Technically, Ultralisk's not the best things against mech, but it's all about tempo. If you can keep the game scrappy, keep the Terran kind of all over the map with all their army disjointed and only a few tanks here and there and not able to get a crazy... Oh, that's a huge pick-off from Soma, taking out 2 science vessels with some Scourge. Light needs to be careful, man. He's throwing away his critical units like candy. And... oh, it gets another vessel! Soma is having a field day taking out these critical utility units of Light. I mean, yes, this mech transition's gonna be strong, but I mean, you can't afford to throw away your SK Terran units that brazenly when you've not even fully got your mech units underway. Like, there's a possibility that Soma ends up running with the game, because usually you need a strong standing army out on the map, gaining control, slowing the game down for this mech transition to be totally effective, and Light hasn't done the best job of that.
This is some excellent play from Soma, just shutting this down so well. Those kills on the vessels are massive, and I'll tell you why in a second, but I just want to say Soma's Ultralisk versus mech is, I think, the best in the world right now. I love his Ultra versus mech because he uses drop so effectively, and his multitasking is next level with Ultra drop. Like, he'll be sending in drops left, right, and center, you know, 3, 4, 5 different locations at the same time, hitting all kinds of different places. He really keeps it scrappy. He'll also utilize things like flying defiler at the same time, and even, you know, throw a couple of lurkers in there as well. So picking off a couple of vessels early, or 3 vessels early, that's massive. That's going to make such a big difference as time goes on, because all you need to do when the Terran player doesn't have vessels is drop a defiler and a lurker at a base, and you can't mine there anymore, at least for quite a long time, because there's no way to deal with the lurkers under Dark Swarm.
Yeah, I mean, Light is trying to make it work. He's got a high count of vultures out on the map, trying to do a lot with a little. Does even kill this lurker at the 12 o'clock, denying some mining up here as well. This is the start of something good for him. He can even start rapidly expanding. He's taking the top right. Needs to be careful not to grow too quickly, though, that he's spread so thin that Soma can overwhelm those positions. Ultra Ling does best when it's a scrappy game and the Terran is kind of all over the place. This is not terrible, though, for Light. It could be the start of a comeback for him. But even though this attack on the 12 o'clock is being somewhat successful and Light is getting this 5th base in the top right, I actually still kind of like Soma's position. I still feel like Soma could be poised to easily clean up this game, just because Light's a bit disjointed right now. He's not really going to be able to cover all of these locations at once, and Soma sweeping the the minefields with a few Lings leading the charge, and now the Ultralists can come in as well, and you'll very quickly see why it's a problem for Terran having to defend on so many fronts simultaneously.
Yeah, this is problematic. We don't have any upgrades for the Terran player as well, by the way. I don't know if that was a drop or not, but doesn't end up working out for Soma. Yeah, okay, finally 1-1 is done. Finally he's got 1-1, but 4 armor for Soma's Ultras. These are going to stand pretty strong against even a pretty deep tank line, but as it stands, tank siege up a little bit late. Doesn't even matter, though. Absolutely smashing through the mech forces here. Soma has more rallied as well. And even with some good mine connections, things are going to start to spiral out of control. He's managed to at least deal some damage over at 12. And getting rid of that base is nice, but it's really important that you stabilize here as Terran. And Zerg can handle a bit more chaos because their units are just so much more fluid moving around the map and being annoying. Like, this is great for Soma if the game stays chaotic like this.
I mean, there is a couple of bunkers up here. Maybe he can hold on to this base in the top right. He's also rotating the army from 12 to go and defend that location in the top right. But yeah, Light is scrambling, trying to put out fires wherever they start, and Soma is going to overwhelm these positions. There's no way Light can do everything right now. It looks like Soma's going to run it down on this base in the top right and try and squash it like a bug before Light can get off the ground, and he's been harassing some of these other expansions. Meanwhile, Light kind of running on fumes in his macro engine. These mines have been fantastic at thinning the herd and making these Ultras not very cost effective. He just scooped up an Ultra there to save it from taking a mine hit. It's going to be as annoying as possible to Light. All he really needs to do is just slow down the expansion path of Light. If he can't get an additional main base online and split the map, eventually the Zerg should overpower him.
Yeah, we can already see it happening. Soma is exceeding Light in supply, and the base of the center right is under threat. Top right is just gone. There's nothing left there. He's making mutas now. This is a great transition, actually, because there's very few vessels and no Goliaths at all. Diving into the mineral line there, dragging some mines in to deal maximum damage to those SCVs, creating a couple of tanks for just Lings there. Such good trades for Soma. You can see what I'm talking about with the drop play, picking up Ultras and dumping them on top of units that give him the best possible trades. And here comes the Mutas, just going to run in, start to kill a bunch of tanks now. Multiple counterattacks going on all over the place. Soma attacking into center right now, and double expanding, taking top center and center left. SCVs falling by the handful here as Light dips dangerously low in supply. He's about to dip under 100, and that's critical levels for a Terran player, while Soma is just continuing to grow. 153 right now, and just ramping up. There it is. GG. Light taps out. One Terran player left, one Zerg left. It's all going to come down to Soma versus JYJ in our final game. All right, our final game of the night, Soma versus JYJ. And guys, before we get into it, just remind you that we have a Patreon page, Saiyan Shun Duo Cast. Should definitely go and check it out. Support us if you can. Follow for free if you can't. And you'll get lots of updates about what we're doing, other things that we're covering, including things like 2v2 and SCSL or whatever we're doing. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for the support. And we're going to keep doing this for many years to come, including things like the ASL. If you guys don't know where to watch the ASL, by the way, and you're about to type in a comment and, ask, just go take a look in the description. I'll put a link down there for the Patreon page and for the ASL casts, where we do them live on Soup, and you can see the VODs there as well.
Yeah, this is a nice start to this season of KCM. I have a feeling this will be a Zerg week. JYJ, though, is a TVZ specialist. He might put on an absolute banger performance for us and be able to slay Soma, but I do have a lot of faith that Soma will be able to do it and kill 3 of these players in a row and actually put a couple of points on the board for his team. That's my prediction, at least. I could be totally wrong about that. And like I say, JYJ so good in this matchup. So yeah, he could definitely still get a win for Terran here.
We'll have to see what JYJ has in store. When I think of JYJ, I would characterize him as more of a bio player. Like he's not really a Valkyrie specialist or, you know, a mech player. I don't really see him doing a lot of fantasy style pushes. Do you think that's accurate, Shun?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, Sam.
Like a four racks plus 1 is what I think of when I think of JYJ, or maybe 3 racks with a bit of an earlier factory. Putting on pressure and doing drops and stuff like that is more his MO, I think. And he's going to start off with kind of a fake bunker rush. I mean, this is not totally fake, but this is not that committed from JYJ. He just took his CC back at home, so he's not super interested in, you know, continuously sending Marines across the map to try and make this happen.
Yeah, this is just a pressure play, nothing too insane, and Soma doesn't respect it that much. He's going to let it finish up and utilize his first 6 lings to start dealing with that. Nice unload trick there from the SCVs to try and avoid getting them both sniped off, but as you can see, with just 1 Marine in the bunker, not a lot can really be done here. And Soma doesn't take the bait. He's pretty well optimized still, besides being forced to make an extra pair of lings early. This is a pretty typical gambit from Terran players, trying to force a more committed response from the Zerg. I guess he did make quite a lot of Zerglings, and he's actually going to try and run it down.
Ooh, he actually got supply block too. He was supply block for a long time here.
Ooh, big error from his Soma. But there's no SCV in the wall, and he's got speed. He actually can technically break through this. It's a bit tricky because of the tight wall in, but if he can kill this 1 Marine and thread all these links through, it's going to be devastating. JYJ shuffles the 2nd Marine in position, gets the block with the SCV just barely. Oh my gosh, he can also repair that up now. Soma's only hope would be to now try and target down this supply. But he kills the Marine! How did he kill the Marine there? Oh my gosh, bit of a mistake from JYJ to keep that Marine in firing range of getting clawed down by those lings. Gets another Marine out. I think he's still gonna hold. But it does kind of help out Soma. I mean, killing an SCV, killing a few Marines, kind of makes up a little bit for that supply block, especially with pulling SCVs off the line. Oh, the Marine pops out on the outside. This is crazy.
He was really trying to get the SCV, or the Marine, excuse me, to pop out on the outside again earlier. But this Marine happened to come in on the inside. Another one on the outside. He's gonna possibly still get in here, man. You gotta pull another SCV. Try and repair this. Can he target down that Marine again? Look at that. JYJ pulls back the Marine, realizing that he might be in range. And have that same situation happen to him again. He's gonna lose the Marine. Oh my god, the Marine. Oh, it's so low. He almost got it.
Kill the depot.
Super low. 1 SCV repairing that, and so he dives on top of the SCVs. Oh my god, Soma's in here. He's got it. He's got it. Firebat pops out. Not gonna be able to hold. Great surround there with the SCV, or with the lings, finishing that off. 2 lings left over. Maybe he can rebuild a supply depot and try to stabilize, but this is a rough spot now for JYJ.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky. He can replug up that hole in the natural to try and survive round 2 from these lings, but it's not going to be easy. He has got a firebat out, has got an SCV blocking that gap, but this is a bunker blocking, so there's actually 2 gaps now. Oh, jeez. JYJ in a world of hurt. Looks like he is going to be taken out by Soma here. Unfortunately for the Terran squad, he taps out. GG is called, and Soma just barely does it. I was surprised that Soma wasn't targeting that supply depot more during all of those shenanigans, because he definitely could have broken through earlier than he did, but still manages to clinch it out, gets a couple of points on the board for Zerg, and saves a pretty disastrous start to this group. It was looking pretty good for the Terrans, having 2 players left and the Zerg and Protoss having to fight it out. Looked like there was a strong shot for Terrans getting a win here in week number 1, but it's actually going to be the Zerg squad off of the back of Soma, who's just such a fantastic player for their squad.
Awesome. So there's not much to really look at here at the point rankings. Zerg taking that first place. If you've never seen this before, 2 points for the winning team, 1 point for the second place, and 0 for the losers here. Protoss not really performing today, man. Lineup was a little bit weak, but Royal just overperforming. Still not able to get that winning spot, though, even though he almost got an all kill today.
Yeah. It's a shame because, Royal did so good to start things off, but it did help him still get a point on the board for Terran. It's hard to really predict what will happen in a KCM with the first few weeks. We've had situations where, say, a squad flatlines a bit in the middle weeks and doesn't really perform well until the semi-finals, but in the last KCM season, it was pretty neck and neck between all 3 squads, and there was not really a flatlining from all 3 teams. And we could be having that happen here as well. I won't be super surprised if Protoss end up fighting back strong in the coming weeks as well. I really love it when it's like week 3 and all players are pretty relatively even on points. That's when things are the most exciting, and we certainly could have that happen here after a few more sessions of KCM.
It kind of varies, right? Like, sometimes it's great when we're doing this during the ASL, and sometimes it's not so good. Like, players are definitely playing at a high level because they're all practicing and getting prepared for ASL, but also we tend to get a little bit worse lineups because people are busy preparing for the ASL. It's really, who's available at the time when KCM is going live. So it can hurt the overall attendance for some of these races. We'll see how much of an effect that has here. If we end up getting some really good lineups or not. It definitely depends on, who's still in the ASL and all that. And who feels like they're confident enough to still play in KCM, even though they've got big games to prepare for. But anyways, guys, that's it for week number 1. We're done here, and we're going to be going into the round of 8 next week. Might be able to slip out another KCM before that. We'll see. Maybe this weekend. If not, it'll probably be on Wednesday. So look forward to that. Look forward to the round of 8. Follow below, guys. Hit all the different links down there and like the video as well. We really appreciate you guys. We love you. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.